Thank you for tuning in to Uncommon Women, a podcast that provides a platform for women of all walks of life.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to Uncommon Women, a podcast that provides a platform for women of all walks of life to share.
Tuning in to Uncommon Women, I'm Shanira.
And I'm Jenny Lee.
And today we have an amazing guest speaker that's going to join us today, Donna Peters. She is the gem for business coaching. She's going to give us all her tools that she has in regards to being professional and not losing your funk, being happy through your drive of being professional and whatever business stream that you want to go with your life. Before we get into today's topic, Jenny Lee is going to give a bio in regards to Donna before we actually bring her up to the platform.
Donna Peters, a certified executive coach and co-founder of the Me Suite business. Me Suite offers career advice and leadership development services. In 2020, Donna won an award from the People's Choice Award. Donna's passion is to help people find their purpose and provide guidance and career-oriented life planning business matters.
Thank you for having me in your sphere. I am learning from your community, and I am really happy to be here.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be with you today. So before we get into the good information that you're going to educate us with today, can you tell us a little bit about your life and how was it growing up?
Yes, I think it's fair to say, I have to honestly say that I won the parent lottery. I'm very blessed to have grown up in the family that I grew up in. There is a psychologist called Maslow, and he had a research approach and a methodology that he called the Maslow's pyramid hierarchy of needs. And in those needs are at the foundation having food and shelter security, and then having safety, and then having a sense of being loved and belonging. At the top of the pyramid is a sense of self-esteem. And at the very, very top of the pyramid is self-actualization, which is you fulfilling your potential. And if I look at that pyramid, I was very blessed to have every single one of those needs solved, met by my strong family upbringing. So I'm very, very fortunate of that, and I feel blessed by it every single day. The self-esteem area, though, shook me because my father had told me, since I could know what he was saying, that I was the most beautiful girl in the world. And then I competed in a beauty pageant. And Donna didn't win the beauty pageant, which meant that Donna was not the most beautiful girl in the world. 3 days. And I'm little bitty, right? I'm little bitty. And I cried for 3 days because I didn't understand how could I have not won that beauty contest, because my father told me I was the most beautiful girl in the world. So that's when I learned that parents don't always tell you the truth, but they tell you what you need to hear. So I will say, though, I did have some very formative experiences growing up. My parents owned a small family business, and it made medical examination tables, wooden medical examination tables. And I grew up working in that factory, staple gunning, sweeping, running a drill press, filling out shipping labels, packing boxes. I grew up in that family business, and I think that shaped a lot of the way I think about entrepreneurship, the way I think about doing what you love to do, the way I think about handling financial stress and the ups and downs that come with that. So I do contribute a lot of the business sensibilities and my interest in business from having grown up in that family business.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So do you believe your inspiration comes from you growing up into the family business?
I think a lot of it, just the whole interaction and watching it happen and being around it all the time. Children absorb everything around them. And that's just a very different experience that I had that not a lot do, that allowed me to absorb different things. It's a different type of education, right? When you're around a family business all the time.
Yeah. You're just taking in what you're seeing. So you just basically just kind of get stuck with you. Yeah, I like that.
I'll tell you what I did, a memory that I cannot shake, that was very impressionable on me as a really young child. I might have been 10 or so, working on the factory floor. There were laborers there, skilled labor, non-skilled labor. There were people who had gone to college, people who did not finish high school, a whole diversity of people working in this factory. I remember my father teaching an 18-year-old young man how to read a calendar.
Wow.
Because he had never been taught how to read a calendar.
Wow.
And I will never forget it. I mean, I was standing right there while it was happening. And I just lots of experiences there about the stresses of everyday jobs, the importance of equal access to education. I mean, how did this 18-year-old young man become an 18-year-old young man and not know how to read a calendar, right? That's not his fault. So there were just a lot of lessons there. My family had some financial stresses during that time. And so I remember the dinner conversations and the ups and downs of those financial stressors. And you're just shaped by all of those experiences. You're never the same after them.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So let's get into, some of the things that shape us. How can we actually stay true to our core values?
Yeah. So in my business, I have a couple of fundamentals, mantras, requirements, I guess you would say. And one of them is that people spend the time and invest in yourself to identify what your core values are. We hear a lot about core values from businesses, right? So when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, and then Nike brought him on as a spokesmodel, right? That was Nike demonstrating that Nike was living its core value around equality.
Right.
And when we had the incident about a year and a half, 2 years ago inside the lobby of the Starbucks, where there were two African-American men in the lobby and one of the baristas called the cops on those two young people, that Starbucks went very public and said that violates our core values. And Starbucks has a core value. Go to their website. They have a core value of warmth and belonging. And that incident that happened in the lobby of that store that day was a violation of the Starbucks core value, create a sense of warmth and belonging. And then that led to some corporate training and some reprimands and whatnot. Well, my belief is that's no different. What those companies are doing for themselves in the way that they make big decisions, they filter them through core values. That is no different than what we should be doing in our own personal lives. What are our own personal core values? And use those as filters for the important decisions that you have to make in your life. My core values are curiosity, freedom, and respect. And they're going to be different from lots of other people, but that's the point. Do the exercise, really think long and hard about what do you value most, what truly are non-negotiables for you, and let that be the foundation through which you filter all the important decisions in your life. So my curiosity core value is one that probably led us to find each other and for us to be talking today, right? It's just being really curious and open-minded that everyone is a teacher if you give them a chance to tell their unique story. And that's what you've been doing with your own adventure in Uncommon Women. And I encourage listeners here, if they're just here because they knew me, to go out and listen to the other guests that you've had on the show. Everyone is a teacher if you give them a chance to tell their unique story. And that's fundamental to my curiosity core value.
So true.
Yeah.
That is one of our core values.
Yeah. It's an interesting exercise to do too if you're in a relationship of any kind, right? And just to see what your own personal core values are, what the core value of your significant other is. Are they aligned? Where might you see some conflicts? It's also an interesting exercise to do in relationships as well.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you stay fresh and relevant for the future you want to have for yourself?
Yeah. So Jenny Lee, I can tell that you're getting in my head here. Yeah. I believe, back to my example from Starbucks and Nike, right? Those are big companies, established companies that are doing good things by grounding in their core values. They're keeping the day-to-day operations of those companies running smoothly, and those companies are staying fresh and relevant for the future that they want to have. Again, why don't we do that for us, ourselves, right? Why aren't we staying grounded by our core values? We need our day-to-day running smoothly, probably now more than ever, because it's so much more complex. And how do we stay fresh and relevant for the future that we want to have? And I love this concept. I don't have any tattoos yet. If I get a tattoo, it's going to say options are power. I'm a broken record. I say it all the time. I'm sure my friends roll their eyes when I say it, but it's my mantra that options are power. And I am getting back to your question, Jenny Lee, I promise. If you have the mindset, if you have the mindset that options are power and you seek to surround yourself with options, you are keeping yourself fresh and relevant for the future, because you are continuing to maybe educate yourself on topics that are interesting. You are continuing to grow your personal networks. You are taking care of your health, right? So that you can be the best you can be every day. You are looking for new roles and experiences, either through friendships or at work, or maybe going back to school. You are staying on top of your finances, right? So you aren't feeling financially trapped, or you have a little bit more flexibility because you're being very knowledgeable about the financial decisions that you're making. All of those things, that the people that you choose to surround yourself with, the way you take care of yourself physically and mentally, the way you look after your finances. This doesn't mean make a lot of money. It just means be smart about the money that you have. And the way you are doing all of those things is building options, so that when crazy things happen that you could not have planned and are outside of your control, you're not trapped. And if you, can I geek out with you for a moment on neuroscience?
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Okay, the brain. We know from neuroscience that the brain scans for threats every 1/5 of a second. We also know that there are 5 times more neural circuits in the brain oriented to threat than to reward. So what this means is we are naturally, instinctively wired for the negative side of things.
Okay.
And if you are doing things in your life to create options, you are avoiding a trapped feeling. A trapped feeling is the negative feeling. A trapped feeling is fight or flight. A trapped feeling is only negative, because it means you feel that you're not in control. And there is not a human or an animal on the planet that likes to be out of control. So if you are doing all these things to surround yourself with options, give yourself more options, then you are helping yourself stay fresh and relevant for the future. And probably more importantly, staying flexible, because we can't predict the future, as evidenced by the last year that you and I have been living. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to stop talking before you close your eyes and go to sleep on me.
Oh no, keep going.
You're good. You're good.
See where you want to take the conversation.
I want to take it further into, like you said today, where we're living at in regards to the pandemic. Like, how do you stay positive with the loss of, people having income changes and things like that? So let's dive deep into it.
Yeah, I'll probably lean then on a few of my favorite coaching questions. Part of the art and the science of coaching is helping us think about things in new ways, particularly if we feel a little stuck or afraid or at risk, trapped again. And some of my favorite go-to coaching questions, especially in a situation like the pandemic, maybe some of us are facing job insecurity, job loss, or maybe we're doing self-reflection and thinking, I don't want this thing that I have right now. I need a change. If we find ourselves feeling a little insecure about those moments, I'd like to ask questions like, what evidence do I have that something is true? So if I'm thinking to myself, I can't possibly find another job right now, it's COVID, what evidence do I have that that is true? What have I tried?
I like that.
Who have I talked to? Have I even put myself out there yet? Right? So sometimes in these moments of uncertainty, if there's something that we want, and then we've got this little nag in the back of our brain, some people call it a self-limiting belief, you can unlock it sometimes by asking ourselves, what evidence do I have that that feeling is true? And you often find, I don't have evidence. Right? I have a feeling and a fear, but I really don't have any evidence. And so that kind of propels you to take the next step, which is, what's the worst that can happen? That's my other favorite question. What's the absolute worst that can happen if you put yourself out there and reached out to try to network to somebody to find a different job because you were doing some self-reflection during COVID and wanted to make a change? What really is the worst that can happen if I go to that job interview and I don't get the job? I at least got some practice because I was a little rusty. So that's my other favorite question for get unstuck at this crazy time is, what's the worst that can happen if I tried something different? As long as it's not creating pain for you and pain for another person, there's really nothing bad that can happen other than you gain some experience.
Okay.
I like that.
Jenny's like, I'm giving that one some thought.
She just got a promotion, so hey, find jobs.
I'm still kind of trying to keep that kind of under the wraps a little bit right now. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I can say. I kind of got a promotion.
Okay,
so
all right.
I'm gonna keep that under the wraps.
Were that to have happened? Congratulations.
I'm sorry, you told me today.
I know, but I should have just said. But it's okay. It's okay. But it feels good though when like that like with you, like you're teaching these people to have purpose. And then when good things like this, like when I went to my interview, actually, I was really nervous and I thought it was going to go bad. And my first interview was great. My second one came along. It was phenomenal. I even told Shanae, I was like, it was great. It was great.
Wow.
I didn't think, I was nervous, but I guess I didn't show them I was nervous. So, and I'm a people person, which even makes it much better. So I was able to just talk like I'm doing now because it's what I do, obviously. So when you said that, kind of brought me back to that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, you're bringing up an interesting topic about interviewing, right? You can imagine I get this question a lot right now in my career executive coaching practice, people prepping for job interviews, right? Some people haven't interviewed for a while, so they're a little rusty. Some of them keep interviewing, but they never quite get over the line and get the offer. So it's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And they often describe, well, I'm nervous. The truth is, I hope you're nervous, right? I don't know anyone who shouldn't be nervous in a job interview if you care about it, right? It's like an actor walking out on stage will never say they're not nervous. They're always nervous.
Right.
But I think you probably instinctively did something, Jenny Lee, that you probably didn't know you were doing, but your intentions were pure, right? Probably had an intention to go out there and show that you were hungry, to show that you were interested in adding value because you knew you had value to add. And you probably had very low, what we call in coaching, self-orientation. self-orientation, basically, you had an episode on narcissism that I really enjoyed.
Mhm.
And a narcissist would have the highest degree of self-orientation that exists. You probably went into that job interview with low self-orientation because you were all about, how do I add value? I want to be part of the team. Show me how I can help. And that's a trust builder, right? So you probably instinctively did that. I coach a lot of people to help them do that. That might have come quite naturally to you. But I hope you're nervous in a job interview. When people that they're nervous, I say, and? Right. I mean, that to me isn't something to fix. What we have to do is channel the nervous energy into looking knowledgeable, hungry, and relevant for the role.
Okay.
If you've ever interviewed people, and I swear I'm not exaggerating, I've probably interviewed, probably 3,000 to 5,000 people in my career.
Wow.
And you have no idea, as an interviewer, we want you to be the person.
Okay.
If you're the person, my job is so easy. Immediately, overnight, you've solved my problems because you're the one. So the interviewer is never there playing the gotcha game, trying to stick you or trying to get you off your game. I hope. I mean, if they are, then they should never be an interviewer. That's a different topic for another podcast. But if you're really, truly interviewing for a job that matters, I wanted it to be you, Jenny Lee. Please be you. Because if you're my solution, my job just got easier. So they're actually on your side. So I often try to coach people that really get debilitating nervousness to think that, no, that person wants you to win. Because if it's you, I can move on to the next thing. Woohoo.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So maybe that'll help somebody if you've got some listeners out there right now in this job interviewing churn.
I do have a question about that while we're on that. Do interviewers know the difference between confidence and a cocky person that they're interviewing? How do you relate from being a cocky person versus being confident and knowing what you bring to the table?
Yeah. So I might define these terms. I wouldn't put them side by side like synonyms of any kind. I think a cocky person is back to that comment I made about self-orientation.
Okay.
A cocky person is telling the me story, the me, the I. And in a job interview, it's an interesting balance, right? How do you strike a balance between showcasing the value that you truly bring as an individual, but also demonstrating that you know how to collaborate with others?
No.
And I think a confident person recognizes that they make a difference and they recognize they need other people for maximum success. A cocky person recognizes that they made a difference.
Okay.
Period. and there's no continuation of the sentence. They struggle recognizing that they need other people for the business to thrive and be successful. So I think it's kind of ironic, though. I actually think cocky people are very insecure. So I think that cocky is an indication of insecurity. I never interpret cocky as a type of confidence.
Okay.
So that's the world according to Donna.
Yes. I like that.
I do too.
Yeah. So when you're coaching, obviously the people that come to you for coaching, how do they feel at that moment before they come into you and you start talking to them and just like not teaching them what you know? How do they feel? Because I know sometimes some of them are probably thinking like, well, this is not going to work for me, or how do
think negative, right?
Yeah, insightful question. People use the following words when they typically seek a coach. I'll hear a lot, I'm stuck.
Okay.
And maybe they had a goal that was really important to them, but they really haven't made any progress against it. And so they feel stuck.
Okay.
Sometimes they have an important decision to make and they're struggling weighing the pros and cons of the decision. And they want an outside party to help them think more rationally and fairly about the different sides of the story before they go make a decision. So that's another thing that people usually approach me about. And so most of these are career oriented, right? I don't know if I should stay or if I should leave. I don't know if I should push for that promotion or not. I don't know how to ask for the raise that I think I deserve. And then the stuck one can usually be more around personal goals. Like maybe somebody felt that they should be farther along in their career than they are. And they're just stuck, not motivated, having a hard time really giving it all they've got. And let me think what else. So stuck, crossroads decision, and the third one. Yeah. I do find that the more senior people become in their career, the more they are open to coaching because they realize that think about anybody in your life, like I'm talking about like athletes, right? Or famous musicians, even famous, you could put famous actors in this category too. Anyone who is performing at the elite level of anything has a coach.
Okay.
Think about it. Right? Can you give me an example of anybody who's performing at an elite level of anything that doesn't have a coach? Think about it. It's I can't think of it.
No. Yeah. I mean, you're right. Somebody's getting coached somewhat somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like for instance, like when they asked me to train at work, I trained them how I was trained.
Yeah.
So yeah. No one can do anything without someone teaching them.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I find that's probably the third flavor is that people are reaching a new rung in their career, like people getting newly promoted. And they recognize that all those things I did before that made me successful to get promoted are different now in my new role where I'm having to demonstrate new skills. The phrase you'll often hear is, what got you here won't get you there.
Okay.
Right. So it's all that stuff that got you to the promotion. You're hitting a reset button and everything is new now. Different level, different types of responsibilities. Now maybe responsible for other people. So what got you here won't get you there is one of the reasons a lot of people seek coaching too. And so it's kind of sometimes counterintuitive that it's actually the better you get and the more recognition that you're getting, the more you go seek a coach. Which can sound a little ironic.
No, I don't think it does. I think I think it's just how it is because you want to seek more, and like you said, the recognition is like the higher you get, you have to learn more, and you need a coach or a person that's teaching you. Yeah, I mean, you can teach yourself, but I'd rather have someone that's already experienced it to show me that. Yeah. And to teach me. Yeah. Okay.
And some people will get it through mentors on the job. Some people will get it through informal relationships that they have in their network. Some people will get it through paid coaches. There's a lot of different ways to get that. But the main message is please go get it and never stop growing. That would be the main theme here.
Okay. Never stop growing. I like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you would like to add or mention that wasn't covered today?
I think that I was taking a couple of notes because I was listening to multiple episodes. Okay. And I do want to stress with listeners here. Do you remember before when I talked about options or power and I mentioned there were a couple of categories that you can work on to build options.
Build it.
One of them was being very strategic about the people that you allow into your life. And you had a couple of episodes. Rashida Williams was one of them that kind of has an episode on that topic. So if that's kind of interesting to listeners, they may want to go out and listen to her episode around more of the people and relationship component. I mentioned health, right? There's so much about our health we cannot control. And I really appreciate that. However, control what you can. Because the poorer your health, the fewer your options. That's just true. And you had Denise Shamlian, if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. Denise was on talking about health. That might be an episode that listeners might be interested in hearing. You had Dr. Am I pronouncing her last name correct? Is it Labette? Dr. Labette? Labette.
Yeah, Labette.
None of my options were accurate. She had an episode on money, right?
Yes,
and so that was
finances.
that was my third category around finances, right? And being really, really smart, not about making the most money you possibly can, but being smart about the money that you have. So you had a few around that too. So that would be the other thing I would say is that if my concept about options or power was intriguing, then I would just encourage people to go absorb these types of conversations that you are making available as a resource to people around health, around finances, around thinking about the relationships that you allow to exist in your life, and then do the core values exercise that I mentioned. You need to know what they are. They may change over time. That's fine. They may stay steady for you for the rest of your life. But I even have some clients and people in my life who revisit those about every 3 to 6 months or at least once a year. Not just to decide if they've changed, but to decide how true to them are you living and making decisions.
Okay, that makes sense. Is it normal for them to change periodically, or I guess depending on the levels of the way things change in your life? Is that why your core values may change?
Yeah, what a brilliant question. I've actually done some research on this. The number one core value that I see change is probably not going to surprise you at all. And it's related to family when people start to have children.
Okay, yeah.
Right. It's such a significant life event that it forces you to stop and take stock, reassess, right? Beyond that one, I haven't seen a lot of living your normal life, running through your normal life, really shake a foundation of core values. The family one definitely does. And certainly if anybody has had a health scare of any significant kind, they'll often reassess priorities in core values because maybe they don't work quite as hard. Maybe they take the foot off the gas a little bit. But it really takes a fundamental shake of the foundation of your life, I think, to really upset your set of core values. But I think it's really powerful to revisit them, make it a New Year's resolution, revisit them just to see how true to them have you been living, right? If I tell you mine are curiosity, freedom, and respect, and I really haven't done anything terribly growth oriented, I'm not really living my curiosity core value. So couple of
that makes sense.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Can you speak on your business and how you help others?
Oh, yeah. So, happy to do that. So I retired as a senior partner from a consulting firm, January 2020. And part of that was this desire that I had. I don't know, maybe it's coming back from my parents owning a family business. I had this desire to be an executive coach. It's something I had done a lot in my regular job of helping to nurture career paths and coaching people through their career journeys. I got feedback that I was effective at it and I loved doing it. And I felt that I was differentiated in that space. So I went back to school and I did a residency in the neuroscience of leadership and became a certified executive coach. Okay. And my business is called the Me Suite, which for people that aren't living in corporate landia, let me tell you the name has a meaning. at any large enough company, they have a leadership team that'll have the chief financial officer on it, the chief marketing officer, the chief HR officer, obviously the chief executive officer, CEO, CFO, CMO, CHRO. That group of leaders is called the C-suite. C meaning chief, right? Well, my philosophy was we should be living our own personal lives the way that C-suites lead companies. C-suites lead these companies with purpose, with planning, and with power. And we need to do the same thing for our own lives. And I call that living with a me-suite mindset.
I love that.
Okay. So at the mesuite.com, and Shanira has the website
Check
address.
her out.
Check it out. On the website are an enormous amount of free resources. And let me tell you what is out there. I certainly have a blog with a lot of career-oriented topics. I even do some fun blogs about traveling with my mother. Her name is Flo, and I do a travel blog called Go with the Flow. So there's a little bit of fun stuff out there.
I love that.
A little bit of fun stuff out there, but most of it is very serious and very career-oriented and extremely practical. I am not a touchy-feely, fuzzy person. Okay. It is practical, and it's advice you can start doing on Monday if you wanted to make a difference. The other free resource out there is my entire library of podcast episodes. My podcast is also called The Me Suite. It ranked Best Business Podcast in 2020 and People's Choice Award in 2020, as Jenny Lee mentioned. It's about 130 episodes now. We're in season 3. And almost every episode is interview-based. And the interviews are people that are the most diverse population of gorgeous human beings living around the planet. Different types of companies, different types of careers, different types of races, religions, experiences, geographies. But the one thing that unites all of them is that they are career-driven and life-minded. Mm-hmm. They know they want a career and they know they want a life at the same time, and they tell their unique story. And of course, it's available for free on the website and also on any podcast platform. You can find it anywhere, whether you're Stitcher or Google, iTunes or whatever. It doesn't matter where you get your podcast, you'll find it out there. So I'd love for you to listen and give feedback on it, of course.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, Donna, thank you for coming out and sharing your story, sharing your coaching methods. And
yes.
Also, we have one question that we always ask all our guest speakers.
Yeah.
What makes you uncommon?
I did not know this. I came to this because other people raised my attention. I am uncommon in my ability to connect dots. I see connection and relevance to things. It comes very naturally to me. I used to be a professional actor, and somehow I thought that was relevant to becoming a strategy consultant. Those dots were so clear to me. It was so obvious that was a straight line between 2 points, where other people would have thought, "What are you, nuts? You're crazy." But I also do that with people. I see connections across people that I think would benefit from knowing each other, or how Jenny Lee's idea would go really well if she only shared that idea with Shanira, et cetera. So I would just say I have an uncommon gift. A friend helped illuminate for me an uncommon gift in the ability to connect dots that other people don't see related. So that'll be mine.
I like that.
I like that. That is so dope. And unique. I love
it. I'm not cool enough to say that my idea was dope, but I know it's
Well, thank you again, Donna. Listen, you guys have to check out our apparel, www.uncommonwomen.net. If you have any topics, or if you want to be a potential speaker, or if you know anyone that wants to be a potential speaker and wants to come on Uncommon Women, again, website www.uncommonwomen.net, and also our first annual self-love seminar. Listen, ladies, tickets are going out fast. They are $15. Also, it's May 22nd at 11 a.m. and you will be getting a gift bag. So definitely, we're hoping to see you there, join in, share, and just, we're also going to have amazing, powerful, empowering women
Yes.
that are going to come on there and speak. So definitely, ladies, get your tickets. And also, like and share and check us out on YouTube. Don't forget that. And also next Thursday, April 29th at 6 p.m. Eastern, our guest speakers going to be talking on rediscovering yourself after relationships. Check us out next week. Hope to see you and stay uncommon.
Bye.
Yeah, we are still on.